the towns in this area were planned by the Canadian National Railway. So right here I have a map of what a typical town looks like. This is one in Radley, and you notice it's the same as what we have here. You have a main street, a first street, a second street, and a railway ave.
Right. But there is some building. They explain that there is some actually buildings that you brought it here, like is the small houses, or you rebuild it and create
okay. Actually, believe it or not, most of these came in one piece.
Yeah,
and
I was here.
There's a few buildings that were built on sites like the Bordet, which you'll see a little bit later. But most of these buildings were brought here. This Bellis train station, this Bellis grain elevator, both came from approximately about 100 kilometers away.
Wow, that's crazy.
And that came in one piece, the grain elevator, if you believe it. And there's some YouTube videos on it if you're interested.
Really? Wow.
Yeah.
That's cool. Yeah. That's nice.
That's the question you need it. If you head right down here, that'll be like chronological order. So then you'll go from the Bordet to the very first farmstead to the rural town site to the main town site here. So kind of developing in nice time order. So yeah, just head right down here. And if you guys go more in.
So I'm right now in the Ukrainian village in Lamont County, and this place has been built to recreate how was the life of the first Ukrainian settlers in Alberta. So actually, believe it or not, this building has been brought totally like in one piece here. This is an original building, and this is a grain for the grain, right? So they process the grain in here. And if I don't believe this, the train used to stop in here, and then they unload all the grains, and then it was processed in here. So this is the original, one of the original buildings that of Ukrainian people that was built on those years. They recreate the Ukrainian village from 1890s until 1912, I believe. Probably I'm wrong. I'm gonna put the exact year, but this is exactly how it looks, right? So this is the Alberta provincial police post. So there's some machines in there. So there is an old phone, very nice, cool. Oh, there is a rifle in there. Wow, very nice. There, over there. I don't know if the camera can catch that. This is an old typewriter, yeah. What else? Oh, this is an old furnace to keep it warm. Right. And this was the place. Oh, this is a jail. This is a prison. I didn't notice all this. And yeah. So it's interesting because the police or all the workers, like a teachers, police, they used to work in here and they used to live in here with their families. So very curious and interesting, right? Like you have your family, you're living, and at the same time, for example, you can have someone in jail. But as the guy said, it just save money, right? To be paying two properties. Instead of paying two properties, you pay only one property, right? For the workers, so they can work and they can leave. Well, you save a lot of things, right? Time and everything, right? Because, well, before on those years, it was the time was really valuable, right? So this is the house. This is the other side. This is the house. Going through this door is the office, and you cross the door, and this is the house of the police officer.
Three churches that we have here at the museum. It was built in 1912 and has been restored to about 1928, which is really the story of a lot of our site. A lot of our site is that late 1920s period. and except for what you'll see down this road. So it's one of 3 churches that we have. We have one that's earlier in construction and one that's later in construction.
Right.
And this church really serves as kind of a bridge between those two eras. The earlier church that we have was built in 1908, and very similar style to how people were building their like the homes that they had in the old country and their permanent homes in Canada. So log construction, rock foundation. It is covered in a wood siding, so it does look like this.
Yeah.
But very simple. It wasn't until they were getting to the roof that someone who was trained in building churches was a part of the construction process.
Right.
The one that we have in town site is very elaborate. A full open dome on the inside. It's all milled lumber, and it's starting to lose some of the traditional elements that were found in Greek Rite churches, like a wall between the main part of the church and the altar area, relative lack of seating, and this church kind of bridges the two. So it's milled lumber.
Yeah.
The community raised enough funds to fully build their church with milled lumber. It's painted on the inside, but it still keeps those traditional elements like the icon wall, relative lack of seating, and rather than just having a flat roof or flat ceiling on the inside like the earlier church, this one is a little bit curved. Right, so a little bit more technique to building it like that, but still not a full open dome that requires quite a bit of technique and skill to do. Yeah. So part of the kind of the Greek rite and how they worship is they don't have any instruments in the church as a part of the service. There can be bells on things like the thing that they swing incense with, but you wouldn't have like a steeple with bells in it as a part of the church proper.
Right.
In some places in Europe and in the Near East too, eventually the separate bell tower did get connected with pedways and things like that. But this is very typical to the village layout where the Ukrainian immigrants were coming from.
Right.
From what's now Western Ukraine. So that's what they recreated here.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
All 3 of our churches did have bells. The one that we have in town site there, we don't have a bell for it because the church community kept it. When they built a new church, they just kept their bell.
Right.
We got the church and they got the bell. The one from way out in the country as well too, it has a bell tower, but not enclosed on the bottom.
Okay.
So you'll see that as well with the rope hanging down. We do have bells in them, and we do use them when we have church services here,
Right.
which we haven't in a year and a bit now, but we do have a service or two usually every year in our church.
Interesting. Okay. Nice.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So you're welcome to look inside.
Oh, for sure. I'm gonna need. Yeah. Thank you. So this is a church. Yeah, you can see. This is the original church. There is a furnace there to keep it warm, right? So very interesting. Have a entrance here. This is something like a room. How is the back of the church? Yeah. So I'm gonna be following this trail, and this trail is gonna be taking me through the history of the Ukrainians village and houses and the lifestyle. Again. So I'm gonna be taking this trail, and it's gonna take me through the lifestyle of the Ukrainians on the 19th. So through the trail there are gonna be houses, places, school, hospitals, and they will explain briefly how they used to live on that time. Okay. This is one of the first. Wow, it's really dark. This is one of the first houses that they built in here. I'm gonna put some light. I'll see there is some light in here. Okay, I don't know if he's helping a little bit. So this is the first houses that they built as a settlers. Amazing, eh?
It's very how strong they are because just with this type of housing they have. Clay is
Yeah, called the birthday.
nowadays nobody can do that.
This has been reconstructed in the 90s. Okay, this is a temporary shelter for the new arrived Ukrainian immigrants. It's amazing. It's a birthday. So that was the birthday, and that was the one of the first I don't know how to call primitive or basic housing that the Ukrainian people have to build when they just arrive in the 19th, right, in order to survive, because they came from Europe, escaping from the wars and everything, to get and improve their life, right? The government of Canada offers a free land and to work it, but obviously when they came in here, they found out that it was not that easy, because the government of Canada have some standards, right, in order to get own of the property. And also it was not free. You have to pay $10 for the registration, which is $10 on that time was a lot of money for people who came with almost no money, right? So you can see how hard it was for the Ukrainian settlers to get a better life here in Canada. It was not that easy like many people think, right? So it's a really interesting way of learn history here, right? So this is another of the houses that have been brought here in one piece. So this is the original house, and has been built in 1915. This is the Grecul house, right? There's three houses, but the person lady said that this was a couple, they didn't have kids. And can we sneak a little? Okay, what is saying here? Please use, can we get inside actually? I think we can get. Okay, look. Oh, so this is the attic. So you use this ladder and go in the top. For what? I don't know. Storage, something. So this is the room, I believe, and the kitchen and the dining room, all in one place. And this could be something like a storage room, or yeah, there is some probably belongings of there is a picture of the guy. So this one was an upgrade from the other houses, because this one has a chimney in there. So I believe the furnace should be around here. Yeah, that's the furnace. The same using for cooking, the kitchen. It goes and it's the chimney, right? Very nice. This was a room. This is the same house, and from outside I believe there's a room, because there is a window in there. So that's probably used as a room, because yeah, it's kind of a window. So this is from the view from outside, and this is the oven. Many people are still using this kind of ovens. It's made of mud, right? You can check, right? That's another of the houses. Well, I believe I believe that between this house here, I don't know if this is a house or this is a barn. Probably, I don't know. I need to ask. But if it is a house, I believe this one is an upgrade of this house, right? And I don't know. Ukrainians has been evolving through the years, right? And they really know how to survive. And just imagine the burdei, the little house that they built, the first settlers in the 19th to survive. They built that, and you can imagine in those years living here in this part of Canada, that the winter it could be drop the temperatures to minus 45, minus 46, living in a burdei. Well, for sure it was probably an advantage to have many people living together, because somehow you can get warm each other, right? But it's hard way to live, right? So I don't know if this is a barn. There is not much information about this place, but I wouldn't be surprised if this is a house, right? And it seems like it's mud. You can feel it's mud. I came before here, but I really like this place. The last time I came here, and I was in a rush because I didn't know that they were closing so early on summertime. So I think I ran in here for an hour to try to see everything. So I didn't have a chance to take these shots, right? So I have to correct myself. Those places are barns, are not houses, and looks like a barn, obviously. Yeah. So they keep it to store all the grains that they produce, right? And another thing is that they used to produce harvest for their own food, right? So they consume what they produce, right? So there's another house, and I want to see. It looks the same. See. So this is the Hloss house, built in between 1915 and 1916. I'm gonna get in here. Yeah. So this one seems like it's an upgrade, because here in the other one, in the bedroom, everything was in one bedroom, like the bed, the kitchen, and the dining table. In this house, the Hloss house, I believe that's the way you pronounce, is only one room for your bed, right? There is no more. There is like a cabinet for some glasses, right? There is another, it's like a pantry room, right? This one. And there is another different room for, I can see, the dining room. Plus, they add a bed. And that's something like for a baby, right? Very, very creative, right? Is that a calendar for 1918? I will take it with me. No, I won't. I'm kidding. If I'm going to the back of the house, okay, we'll see a barn, a small barn, and this is for the horses, I believe. This one is for the horses, right? So the horses used to sleep in here, right? And they have all the stuff in here to prepare the horse, right? And all the food for the horses, for the animals, is in this side, right? And this side is the house of the horses, right? This is our the birds, the chickens, the hens, the roosters, and amazingly, there is a lot of hens and chickens in here. Hello. Well, this is called a shrine in the road, and you have to pray here. What I know is that cross is from Ukrainians, and it's the Orthodox Cross. I don't know too much about religion, but I know some people from Ukrainian. I work with a person that is his background is Ukrainian, so yeah, I know that. Yeah, this is a roadside shrine, so people who are traveling stop, pray, and expect that they're gonna have a good journey. So I continue working in the Ukrainian village. So far, it's a very interesting way to learn about history and Ukrainian history and the first settlers here in Alberta. I will for sure recommend it. It's highly recommended. The trails are nice. The people, the workers, the staff in here are very cool. They explain everything. They answer all your questions. They're always with a smile, and they're always willing to help you to learn about more the Ukrainian village. So they really want to share the heritage, right? So that's good. Yeah, what else I can say? I came many times to the Ukrainian festival, so I always enjoy to come here and have fun with all the Ukrainians. Some pig. Hello. Ukrainian pigs. They're very happy. They're young guys.
Luzon Post Office, so they work together. Luzon grocery store was so important at that time for one of the rural communities for a reason, because they had, actually I'm going to show you even, they had pretty much everything what you needed at home. Here are factories, because of the cover.
So this is the Ukrainian Canadian farmstead. This is built between 1917 and 1924, and this is more like a Canadian American style, the house, right? If you can see, it's under construction or renovation, so you cannot go through. But you can have an idea that over the years, if you have a good job or you have enough money on that time, on those years, or that time, you can build a bigger house, right? So like that one, right? It's more American than Ukrainian, but it's what you need if you're gonna planning to live here in Canada, right? So I will continue walking. I'm walking now to the community hall. Just remember, all this building, the grocery store behind there, it's is the original. So they brought all these buildings in one piece. So that's a lot of work, right? To create this in place museum, right? So right now, as I said, I'm going to the community hall where the people used to get together and dance and have some music and you know, socialize after work. And it's that one. So this is the community hall. So as you can see, it's very big, very wide, right? Very open. And the reason is because usually people get together and play some music and dance, right? So you need bigger spaces so you can have more people together, right? So until now, the idea and the concept of community hall here in Canada is very common, right? There is many community halls all around. Well, I'm going to talk about the city here in Edmonton. There's many community halls, right? So each community hall belongs to a community, and usually the neighbors around the community get together on that hall. They can meet for some celebrations or to raise some funds. They make different activities, right? So that's the idea of the community hall, to reunite people, to get together, socialize, right? So that was the same concept that they used to have on that time, a community hall. So this is the main entrance, right? So I have to tell that I noticed that I was recording and the GoPro told me that the weather is too hot, and suddenly the GoPro stopped recording and left a message. So I cannot be recording 4K because it's too hot. Right now the temperature here probably is around 29 or 30 degrees, and I have been walking for about an hour or so. So that's the reason why the weather is too hot and it's affecting the some feature of the camera. What is this? This is a church. This is the St. Nicholas Russo Greek Orthodox Church. As you can see, again, there is that cross. That is the Orthodox Cross, right? And this one was built in 1908. No, and this church is the oldest of the three churches moved to the Ukrainian Cultural Heritage Village. So this is another of these buildings that have been brought in one piece here to the Ukrainian village, right? This is the Orthodox Cross, right? There is that they used to have the bell, right? I don't know if they have the bell. We're gonna take a look. No, there is no bell, but that's the idea, right? I think this place, the Ukrainian village, it turned in one of the places that I must to visit once a year at least. Like I like to go to El Island Park, right? Once a year. This place I like to visit, right? I like to visit this place at least once a year. It's on my list of places that I need to come, right? Even if I see the same, doesn't matter. It's a very nice and interesting place to come, to walk around and to continue learning about different cultures, right? It would be nice that they could build that about my country here, but well, it's not the majority of the population here in Canada, the Peruvian population, so right. Some horses. Hi. Wow, you are a beautiful horse. Hello. Oh. Oh. They're a couple or mother and son? Have some food? Can you eat this? Let's see. You like it? I hope I'm not giving something that is poisonous or something. I will see there's more here. Well, I think by this time you know what is poisonous and what is not poisonous, right? Ooh. Guys, I'm just trying to give you a treat. Please don't die. Okay. Eat. You like it? You can look at it? Or you want to bite my finger? Come on. What about you? Sure. Yeah. There's more here. Okay. I really like horses. You like it? No? Oh, you don't like this? So you know. What else you like? These ones. This is what you like. I think so. Right? This one? You smell it? You? No? I'm gonna put it in here. Here. Okay. So there. There you go. Don't. Yep. Good boy. There you guys. I really like horses. I don't like to ride the horses. I don't enjoy. I like to be close to the horses. I like to feed them, to pet them, but I don't really enjoy riding a horse. I try it, but I didn't enjoy it.
And so any students that wanted to go past grade 8 would usually have to go to the nearest town, which oftentimes had a 2-room schoolhouse, to finish up to grade 11 or grade 12.
Okay.
So a lot of students that lived in the rural areas, however, if they were continuing on with farming, a lot of them didn't need an education past grade 8, but definitely it was helpful. It wasn't just helpful for their own literacy, but it contributed to these kids. They would grow and that's all that they knew about their Ukrainian heritage. And so it was, I think, oftentimes from the stories that we've heard, it was discouraging for a lot of students and confusing for them, because they would see this very elevated form of British culture that was very clean cut and sophisticated,
Right.
and then they would go home and see this very rough Ukrainian, this very rough around the edges sort of life, and they knew that was their heritage. So it's kind of an interesting discussion, right? Because
Right, yeah.
it's confusing for a lot of these young people, but at the same time, from a governmental perspective and an economic perspective, you can't have all of these different groups of people that are immigrating from all around Europe, especially, you can't build an economy when no one knows how to communicate with each other.
Yes.
Right?
Exactly.
And when people are all completely alienated from one another and their cultures. And so in order for Ukrainians to actually come to Canada and contribute to the building of this country, they needed to be informed and on the same page as everyone else. And so that's why assimilation even though it has such negative connotations, can be seen as something that was beneficial to the people because it gave them the tools that they need to actually really get involved in this country and not remain as outcasts as they were when they were in the old country. So yeah, it's a very interesting discussion.
Yeah.
And we even see a lot of, like, there's a very rich Ukrainian Canadian community in this area of Alberta, in Dauphin, Manitoba, in Ontario, for example, near Saskatoon as well. And so it's interesting to see how this culture hasn't been lost in spite of it being very anglicized. You know what I mean? Ukrainian Canadian culture has actually shaped to be quite different from Ukrainian culture as Ukrainians might know it today in Ukraine overseas.
Yeah.
So it just goes to show how culture kind of splits and changes, and how the dynamics are dependent on one's environment, the demands at hand, like economic demands, for example, their resources that they had access to, that sort of thing.
So this is the school before. The teacher in here, when those years they used to teach, the one teacher to 8 grades.
Oh, sorry, the big black
So
thing.
very interesting.
Oh, that's the stove.
That's the little library.
So it, like the furnace kind of. So the stove, it's difficult to see from this angle, but if we were inside,
This is the stove to keep it
on
warm.
the other side of it, you would be able to see that there's a potbelly stove, and then there's the tin wrapping around it, which is that like.
Oh, there's a
black
slingshot in there.
ornamented stuff. So basically, the tin would heat up.
So this is a really modern Ukrainian church. Hello.
How are you doing? You made it back to the center of town.
Yeah.
Come on up. The first building that you can see up on our corner here is our Ukrainian Greek Orthodox Church.
Yeah.
Very, very lovely building. This one came from the town of Vegreville, just east of here. Known for having quite a high Ukrainian population. I'm sure you might know. And this here, it's not the same, we can actually just step inside a little bit and have a look inside. There's
Oh,
some
that's
very
good.
Lovely paintings on the inside. Definitely worth
Oh, for sure.
looking at. It's kind of a bit of a newer building. This was built in 1934.
Yeah.
And the artwork that you're going to see inside was put in even over a decade later. But it's just so lovely that we couldn't keep it down, keep it to ourselves. We got to put it out here for people to see. So definitely, absolutely.
It is, yeah. Okay.
Come on inside.
Thank you so much. Very nice church. It's built in 1934. Yeah, it's the original building. They brought it from Bakerville here in one piece. So it's a very nice building, right? Very interesting.
Oh, I think it is. Just because there's so many things to look at.
Yeah.
And there are some things you recognize, but they're a little bit different. And then some of them you have no idea.
That's a gas pump.
A gas pump indeed. A lot of businesses here in town did multi-purpose things. So you couldn't just run one specific business, you had to run quite a few. So this one sold oil, gas, coal. They had trucking. For a truck that comes out of there, they would deliver things like livestock and stuff of that nature, charging back, kinds of services they could provide.
Yeah.
So they were busy. So do check this out.
Hello. I'm good, thank you.
The hotel only had 8 bedrooms.
Okay.
And an interesting fact about the beer parlor is that it would have been very scandalous for a respectable woman to go in. So there are lots of stories of women coming into not coming into, but just standing outside and telling one of the owners to get their husbands, who were very drunk, and then they would pull them home by their ears, and that was a very, very scandalous thing to do. But, now we can get a good laugh out of it, right?
This is a lumber, right?
Yes, Alberta Lumber Company. And in 1928, when it has been restored to, the business was very, very profitable. They were building another railway line, and most of the lumber from this particular, for the train station,
Very interesting.
grain elevators, and the hotels and the businesses all came from this particular business.
Oh,
And so they had a very good year. Unfortunately, that didn't keep up because the Great Depression did happen.
29, 30?
1929.
9:39. Yeah. So this is the end of the visit of the Ukrainian village. I'm going back and see if I can pick something to eat before they close. And hope you like it and you use this as a point of reference and come to visit the Ukrainian village. It's very cool. People are cool here. And I will see how is the food, but I'm pretty sure it's really good. Do побачення.